Everything about modern work is supposed to make life easier. Yet a lot of people finish the day feeling more exhausted than if they had done something physically demanding. If you sit for most of your day and still feel heavy, foggy, stiff, and weirdly drained by late afternoon, this video is for you. The problem may not be that you are lazy, unfit, or getting older faster than you should. It may be that your body is paying a quiet tax for staying still too long. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why sitting can lower your energy, what it does to circulation, blood sugar, and your brain, and the simple daily shifts that can help you feel more awake without relying on another cup of coffee. Here's what makes this so frustrating. Sitting feels harmless because it doesn't feel like effort. You're not running, lifting, or sweating, so it seems like your body should be conserving energy. But the body does not interpret long periods of stillness as a gift. It often interprets them as a slowdown. Blood flow becomes less dynamic. Large muscles stop contracting. Posture starts collapsing. Breathing can get shallower. Blood sugar control may get worse, and your brain starts receiving a stream of signals that say, slow down, stay small, conserve. That's why people can feel wiped out after a full day at a desk. And the worst part is that many common fixes miss the real issue. More caffeine, more scrolling breaks, or one hard workout after work may not fully undo 10 hours of near-continuous sitting. In a minute, I'll explain the circulation piece most people overlook. Then we'll get to the blood sugar effect that can quietly amplify brain fog. And later, I'll show you the easiest way to build movement into a workday without turning your life into a fitness challenge. The first thing to understand is that your body is designed for regular muscular activity, not just one isolated workout. When you walk, shift, stand, squat down, carry things, or even change position often, your muscles are constantly helping pump blood and lymph through the body. That movement keeps nutrients and oxygen moving where they need to go. But when you stay planted in a chair for long stretches, especially with bent hips and knees, you lose a lot of that natural pumping action. Your calves, glutes, and core get quieter. Your joints stay in one angle too long. Blood can pool more easily in the lower body. And while this may not cause a dramatic crash right away, it can create that low-grade sluggishness many people mistake for a motivation problem. A useful way to think about this is that movement is not just for burning calories. Movement is information. It tells your cardiovascular system to stay responsive. It tells your muscles to stay online. It tells your brain that you are engaged with the environment. When that signal disappears for hours at a time, you often feel it as fatigue before you notice it as stiffness or discomfort. Some research on sedentary behavior suggests that long sitting time is linked with worse energy, lower physical function, and more fatigue, even in people who think of themselves as otherwise healthy. That does not mean every tired office worker is tired only because of sitting. Sleep, stress, hydration, and food still matter, but sitting can absolutely be part of the picture. And for many people, it is a much bigger part than they realize. Now let's talk about circulation, because this is one of the fastest ways sitting can make you feel drained. Your leg muscles, especially your calves, help push blood back upward toward your heart. When those muscles contract regularly, circulation tends to be more efficient. When you barely move, that assist weakens. You may not see dramatic swelling, but you can feel the effects as heaviness, restlessness, cold feet, or a kind of stale body feeling by the afternoon. Less movement also means less variation in blood flow, and less stimulation for the tissues that depend on that flow. It's a little like keeping a river technically present, but much slower than it should be. Things still move, but not with the same freshness. And when the body feels stale, the brain often feels stale too. This matters for energy because your brain depends on a steady supply of oxygen, glucose, and circulation. If your posture is collapsed, your breathing is shallow, and your body has barely changed position in 3 hours, that internal environment can push you toward mental fatigue. This is one reason a 2-minute walk can feel strangely more effective than another email break. You are not just taking your mind off work. You are changing the physiology underneath the fatigue. A second mechanism is blood sugar regulation. Muscles are major users of glucose. When you move after meals, even lightly, your muscles help soak up some of that glucose more efficiently. When you sit still for hours, especially after eating, your body loses that support. For some people, this can contribute to a more dramatic post-meal slump. You eat lunch, return to your chair, and by 2 o'clock, you feel sleepy, unfocused, and hungry again, even though you just ate. That doesn't automatically mean something is medically wrong. It may simply mean your meal, your stress load, and your inactivity combined into a perfect recipe for a crash. There is also an enzyme story here that almost nobody talks about outside exercise science. Certain enzymes involved in fat metabolism respond to muscular activity. When movement drops very low for long periods, some of those helpful metabolic processes become less active. In plain language, the body becomes less metabolically lively. Over time, too much sitting is associated with poorer metabolic health, and in the short term, it can leave you feeling flat rather than energized. This is why an intense gym session 3 times a week does not fully erase a highly sedentary day-to-day routine. Dedicated exercise is powerful, but the body also cares about what you do in the other waking hours. Here's where it gets really interesting. Sitting fatigue is not just physical. It is neurological and psychological too. A lot of desk-based work keeps the mind active in a very narrow way, while the body stays frozen. You are switching between tabs, processing information, responding to messages, making decisions, and maybe carrying background stress the entire time. So the brain burns through attention, while the body receives almost none of the regulating effects of movement. That combination can create the very specific feeling many people know well. Tired but wired. Mentally overloaded but physically stagnant. You're exhausted, but a walk sounds weirdly hard. You want stimulation, but more stimulation makes you feel worse. Posture adds another layer. Many people don't just sit. They fold. Chin forward, rib cage compressed, shoulders rounded, hips locked, glutes switched off. That position can make breathing more shallow and less efficient. When breathing stays small and upper chest dominant for hours, your body may drift toward a more stressed state. You don't need perfect posture all day to stay healthy, but staying in one collapsed pattern for too long can absolutely change how you feel. Often the issue is not one bad posture. It is the absence of variety. The body tolerates a lot better when positions keep changing. So what do you do if your work requires sitting? First, stop aiming for perfection and start aiming for interruption. The goal is not to never sit. The goal is to break up long still periods before they become your default state. For most people, standing up every 30 to 60 minutes is a strong place to start. You do not need a full workout. 1 to 3 minutes of walking, calf raises, air squats, marching in place, or even standing while taking a call can make a noticeable difference. If you do nothing else from this video, do this. Set one recurring cue in your day that forces movement before your energy falls apart. It could be every time you finish a meeting, every bathroom break, every refill of water, or every hour on the hour. Second, use meals as movement anchors. One of the best times to move is after eating, especially lunch. Even 5 to 10 minutes of easy walking can help blunt that heavy, sleepy post-meal feeling. You do not need to power walk around the block in business clothes. A slow walk, stairs, pacing during a call, or a lap around the building counts. The point is to give your muscles a chance to participate in what happens after you eat. Many people chase supplements for energy while ignoring this simple lever. Third, support circulation at your desk instead of waiting until you feel terrible. Ankle pumps, calf raises, seated leg extensions, standing stretches, and hip openers are not glamorous, but they work with the body you actually have. If your feet feel cold, your legs feel heavy, or your lower back starts talking to you by midday, that's useful feedback. Your body is asking for motion, not motivation speeches. Fourth, Look at your workstation through the lens of movement, not just ergonomics. Ergonomics matters, but the most ergonomic setup in the world can still become a problem if it freezes you in place. A standing desk can help some people, but standing still all day is not the answer either. Alternating between sitting and standing is better. Taking calls on your feet is better. Moving your printer, water bottle, or trash can farther away is better. Small bits of friction that force natural movement often work more reliably than ambitious plans. Fifth, protect your inputs that amplify sitting fatigue. If you are underslept, dehydrated, stressed, and living on refined snacks, the fatigue of sitting will hit harder. The chair may be the final straw, not the whole problem. This is why the fix is often layered. Better sleep makes movement easier. Better hydration supports circulation and focus. A lunch with more protein, fiber, and fewer ultra-processed hits may reduce the afternoon crash. A short walk after that lunch gives the meal a different metabolic outcome. None of these habits are flashy, but together they can change the entire feel of your day. One mistake people make is assuming they need motivation to move. Usually they need systems. Motivation is unreliable at 3:30 in the afternoon when the inbox is full. Systems are what help when motivation disappears. Calendar blocks for movement, alarms that repeat, a coworker walk habit, a farther bathroom, walking meetings, a rule that no call is taken sitting down. These are the things that work in real life. Make the healthy action the default action, not the heroic action. Another mistake is thinking that evening exercise cancels out a motionless day. Evening exercise is great, and if that is when you can do it, keep doing it. But one workout does not fully replace all-day movement. Your body benefits from both intentional exercise and regular movement snacks. This is good news because it means you don't have to choose. A 10-minute walk, a few standing breaks, and one real workout can work together instead of competing. And if you're wondering whether this applies only to older adults, it doesn't. Younger people can feel this too, especially in high-screen, high-stress jobs. Brain fog, afternoon crashes, tight hips, poor sleep after sedentary days, and the sense that your body has gone offline are not rare. They're common. And while they're common, they should not be normalized as inevitable. So let's bring this together. If sitting all day leaves you more tired, the reason is not just that you're doing nothing. It's that your body is losing the regular movement signals that support circulation, blood sugar handling, posture, breathing, and mental freshness. The fix is not guilt, it's rhythm. Break up stillness before it hardens into fatigue. Move after meals. Use simple desk-based circulation habits. Build your environment so movement happens automatically. And support the basics: sleep, hydration, food, and stress, so sitting has less power over your energy. If this sounds like you, comment and tell me the time of day your energy crashes hardest. Subscribe if you want more practical wellness explainers that skip the hype and focus on what actually helps. And if you found this useful, watch our video on what high stress may be doing to your digestion, because that's where this conversation gets even more practical.